How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading with the prices going up or down. Successful Bank of England CBDC pilot could speed up UK crypto regulation. The Bank for International Settlements and the Bank of England currently conclude that the central bank digital currency pilot could refocus lawmakers on finalizing UK crypto regulation. The pilot, Project Meridian, coordinated messages between BOE's real-time gross settlement system and the land registry to purchase a house using central bank money. So, this was a synchronized operation linked to the RTGS and land registry, ensuring that funds only change hands if the property did, and the connection used by the application programming interfaces conform with global financial messaging standards. APIs is like something that's used to connect to an app program. So, like, there could be an API that shows Bitcoin change price from the chart data to display it here for us to see. That could be like an example of an API. Or like the display of a page. There's various ways APIs could be used. Earlier this month, UK Financial Stability Deputy Governor Sir John Clough suggested a new interbank statement system that could pair the RTGS with a distributed ledger. Alternatively, the Bank of England could wait for a passage of the Financial Services Markets Bill, the new law defining rules for stablecoin settlements. So there's two possible routes for them to actually continue forward, and they are in the final passage of concluding this bill, which includes including consideration for amendments and the royal assessment. If both the House Commons and the House of Lords agree quickly on the final revisions, the King can then turn the bill into law. So they just need to make a few revisions for a bill, and they could possibly link the RTGS system with a distributed ledger, and they did this on a test to run and buy a house with a CBDC. So England is ramping up their crypto abilities very strongly, and the US is being left in the dust like some third world country. MiCA will mark the end of crypto Wild West in the EU. So even the EU is getting something. But here we are. Supposed to be the leader of the free world. European Union lawmakers say that new regulations on cryptocurrency in the region will end the industry's Wild West era and restore trust. Markets in Crypto Assets, or MiCA, will go on a vote to the European Parliament in Strasbourg tomorrow, marking a major milestone in the proposal's passage to law. So two countries very close to getting some crypto regulation. Two regions rather. Ahead of the vote, Parliament debated the merits of the package in the chamber today, with several hailing the introduction of a legal framework as a major step forward in the bloc. For over a decade, the lack of regulation has resulted in massive losses to many first-time investors and provided a safe haven for fraudsters and international criminal networks. MiCA represents an important and necessary first step to bring the crypto sector under regulatory oversight. Financial Commissioner Marid McGuinness even said that had FTX had been under EU jurisdiction, many of its practices would not have been permissible, and pointed to rules within MiCA which require companies to disclose conflicts of interest and not use client funds. So, MiCA and in the Europe could have prevented the FTX issue, and their legislation could go into effect tomorrow. So again, we have two countries that are leaving the US behind, the UK and the EU area, or the whole EU bloc. Hacker has stolen 10 million in Ethereum and no one knows how. Taylor Monahan, former CEO and founder of Ethereum wallet manager MyCrypto, said on Twitter Tuesday that over 5,000 in Ethereum has been stolen since December. The worrying part, it hit hardware wallets, so users who prioritize security, according to Monahan. Folks are those who are more crypto native than most and reasonably secure, were hit by a draining of funds. So here's a whole map that shows like how all the wallets moved all to these different like specific people. If you want, you can look at that. I'm not going to show that. In other words, these aren't crypto newbies clicking on obvious phishing links that are being drained. The attack is far more sophisticated than that, and it's OGs who are being wrecked, Monahan explained, and no one knows how. The security team behind popular crypto wallet MetaMask told Decrypt that the unidentified exploit hit crypto's users, including but not limited to MetaMask users. The on-chain behavior heavily suggests that there's a private key compromise somewhere, MetaMask said, and Moahan said that the attack targeted funds held on wallets that were created from 2014 to 2022, and their best guess is that someone got themselves on a fatty cache of data from a year ago and is methodically draining the keys as they parse through them. So basically what's happening here is someone got access to a bunch of private keys somehow from the range of 2014 and 2022, and they're exploiting that to steal over 10 million in Ethereum since December, likely as they parse through that data. So if you have a wallet that could have been compromised from MetaMask, then maybe you want to change your private keys and rekey your assets. So onto the charts. Bitcoin dominance went a little bit up today. I was expecting kind of a roll over, especially with Bitcoin taking quite a bit of a dump. Ooh, Graph dumped real hard today. And so did Algo. RSI is kind of rolling over here, even though we're trying to head up. Money flow's heading up pretty decently. Our stochastic's got a decent cross. Our momentum wave is curling up. And our VWAP looks like it could cross that neutral zone. So we are looking pretty good for a move up, continued move up, but we are at a pretty decent support resistance area as well. So if we're going to get rejected anywhere, it would be here. But with those bills passing tomorrow, we may see a bit of a pump. So over on the daily, we almost forgot our market cap here. Over on the daily for our market cap, we did come down to our support for our triangle. We are currently in our triangle. Stochastic is falling, momentum's coming down, has a red dot. RSI is coming down pretty drastically because that RSI's stochastic's just dying. Money flow is starting to cross red, and our VWAP is crossing bearish pretty strongly. So overall, we're really strongly, aggressively dropping into the bearish territory here on our altcoins, which this is our altcoins except Ethereum. See, excludes ETH and BTC. If you can see that part. Not sure if my camera is covering that. But over on Bitcoin, oh yeah, it wasn't. It was covering the price though. If you're interested in the price, just leave a comment, move your camera, and maybe I'll move the camera over here. But then you won't see some of this previous action, but that won't really matter. So over on Bitcoin, we are making a bearish engulfing candle from our bullish engulfing candle. So we did break our entire volume profile. We are above, for this macro volume profile, we were above the high value area, and we are coming below it now. We did break into it. We are breaking to the top of our point of control, just inching right where I said last night we'd meet resistance. So if we break into this golden pocket area, then it's likely we're going to see some heavy manipulation to the downside, and we could possibly fill those gaps I talked about in the BTC CME gap update video earlier this month, which is still relevant if you want to check it out. Our next stop could be this point of control. We would likely make a bounce off of it, possibly retest that value area high, and then come back down through it if we're going to continue bearish momentum, or we could just break right through it. As you've seen, we've gotten just crazy moves where we just haven't really done many retesting, just shot right through supports and resistances lately. So over on the 4 hour, you can see we did try to come back above, but we kind of got slammed down with 2 candles in a row. Stochastic's trying to make a curl up, RSI is falling, momentum, money flow is coming out really aggressively. Our VWAP is trying to head up, but our momentum wave is coming down, but could try to curl. So we're a little indecisive at best on the 4 hour. We could make a slight bounce off this, hit our high value area, come back down, and then come back toward our point of control as well. That could be the move we could see. Don't really have any patterns here, as we're kind of just sideways like bleh. Stochastic's heading down, RSI is heading down, money flow's going bearish on the 2 hour here. Our VWAP is rejecting away from that neutral zone. Our momentum is trying to get that curl. Like I said, the 4 hour looks like it could attempt, but we don't have any green dots, and we could easily curl away and get some more downward momentum. Over on the 1 hour, you can see we have this higher volume area right in here around this 29.2, 29.3-ish area. That would be our next support resistance, like locally. If we are able to break above that, that would be a good sign for us, but we need to get above that. Stochastic's starting to fall on the 1 hour, RSI is curling down, heading downwards. Our money flow doesn't really know where it wants to be. We're at about 2, so not very strong. Our momentum is curling down with a red dot, so not looking too strong here on the 1 hour. If this continues, we could see more downside. You can see we tried to consolidate and we ultimately bowed downwards. So that could be a bit of a rounding top. Just to take a quick peek, our futures has nothing new. So we'll just go on right to graph. So you can see we went right down to that support like I mentioned us possibly going to. Stochastic's starting to roll over, momentum's starting to roll over, getting a red dot that could confirm RSI is coming down, money flow is rejecting, and the VWAP is heading in the same trajectory as our money flow. They're both got a pretty good bearish trajectory currently. On our 4 hour, our momentum's trying to curl up. VWAP is somewhat trying to head up, but that's just our medium term. If we don't get money flow heading up and everything else heading up, that could easily start to roll back over. Stochastic's pretty beat down, RSI is coming down, our momentum's trying to make a curl, and our money flow is heading out pretty aggressively, getting real close to that neutral. We're about 3 here, so not very strong. Over on the 2 hour, you can see we've broken the support. Which support is that? That's that local support. And we're heading back down to our triangle support. If we hit that, that would make it weaker, and that would add a possibility to us breaking down and coming to this other support we have at 14.4 or 14.5-ish. So our RSI is curling down, Stochastic's curling down, money flows in the red, kind of curling up. Doesn't really know what it wants to do. If it can manage to curl up and stay positive, that would be good for us, but with the way the total's looking, that may not be the case. Our momentum's starting to curl away. We could get a red dot print here that could suggest momentum could have some further downside, so I'd be cautionary of that. Over on the 1 hour, our Stochastic's starting to roll over. Our RSI is just leaning outward, and our money flow is getting real close to breaking bearish. We're at about a 1, maybe a 2 at best. VWAP's in the bearish zone, heading downwards. Momentum has a red dot that's curling over, and we're heading back down. So our momentum on the 1 hour is heading out again after trying to come back up. So if that carries over into our higher time frames, it's likely we'll get some more downside here. Over on Anchor, why do we have these numbers? I do not like those. Get rid of values. We have this big red candle with a red X, so not very good start right there, as that's a manipulation sign that could drag us lower like it did here, or it could do nothing like it did here. We are hitting that value area low, broke through everything, our high value area, our point control, value area low on this micro area. We are below our point of control on the macro area we have here. So that's not very good, as our next stop will be the value area low, kind of like you're seeing in the micro. Our Stochastic's getting a pretty good divergence here, heading down. Our RSI is heading down pretty aggressively. Our momentum is also coming down with a red dot. And money flow is coming out pretty strongly, as well as that VWAP's going down real strong as well. So not looking too good here on the daily so far. Over on the 4 hour, all sorts of bearish divergences highlighted that brought us down. Momentum's coming out, VWAP's kind of flattening in this bearish zone, so not too good there. Our money flow is starting to come out, and our Stochastic's trying to curl, but it's just riding that oversold area. So overall, the 4 hours not looking too strong. We're going to need some sort of a positive bounce off this support level if we're going to get any kind of good movements. Over on the 2 hour, our momentum is trying to curl. VWAP did try to come up, but it's kind of tapering out just under that neutral zone like it wants to reject away. Our stochastic's heading down and pretty oversold. RSI is losing strength. Money flow is getting very close to a bearish cross. So overall, we're not looking very good here on Anchor as well. Looking very similar to everything else so far. RSI is coming down pretty strongly. We did have a bullish divergence that tried to bring us up, but got rejected and kind of just curled away. We have a red dot in our momentum, and our momentum's curling away. Stochastic's heading down, RSI is heading down. Money flow is trying to hold its ground though, and our VWAP is kind of just flopping around. If this money flow can hold, sorry about that. If this money flow can hold its ground, then that could be positive. We might see this 2 hour kind of roll up, but we'll want to watch these time frames. Over on XRP, we just died through this pattern, so all supports are gone at this point. So I'm going to remove this, because unless we get a really good move, it's not likely we'd come back into that pattern. RSI is heading down very strongly, stochastic's heading down very strongly, momentum's beat down, money flow's nowhere to be found, and our VWAP's rejecting. So overall, we don't look very good. We do have a long lower shadow, somewhat. I wouldn't really call it a long lower shadow because the wick needs to be bigger than the body, twice as big as the body. So I wouldn't call it a long lower shadow yet. Over on the 4 hour here, stochastic's pretty beat down, RSI is pretty beat down, our momentum's falling. VWAP's starting to curl away from trying to make a bullish momentum upwards, and our money flow overall is heading downwards, so we're not looking the greatest on the 4 hour here either. We are kind of flagging out, might kind of have a wedge, but if this candle pushes lower, we'd invalidate a wedge and make more of a descending triangle. That could bring us down. RSI is kind of curling away, stochastic's starting to curl away, money flow is starting to come back out, and overall is heading down. Our VWAP is trying to cross bullish, but could roll away if we're not careful. Our momentum's trying to get a little bit of a curl, so we'll kind of have to see how the 1 hour is doing to see if we can sustain this. Stochastic's looking like it's about to get a bearish curl. We do have a bearish divergence here as not really. Price is making a lower low. Never mind on that. Our money flow is kind of iffy. It's been up and down. We're at about 13, so one of the stronger money flows we've seen tonight. But with the stochastic and RSI, we could come down lower. Momentum's just flashing all sorts of dots. Doesn't know what it wants to do, but currently it's suggesting that we could come back down. So with these crosses that are trying to happen right now, if these do confirm, then it's possible we see some further downside that could possibly be pretty volatile. Over on Algo, the most beat down coin of the last few weeks, we are getting to our value area low on our volume profile here. We're at a pretty decent support zone, really. This 20-cent zone's pretty critical. If we break this, it's likely we'll retest this 18, and if we break that, then it's likely we could retest around the 16. So keep that in mind if we see further downside, if you're planning on averaging. Our stochastic's kind of starting to fall, not financial advice anyway. I'm just kind of trying to help you realize what dollar cost averaging is. If you don't know what it is, say what is DCA, or if you'd like a video on it, say what is DCA down in the comments. Our money flow is trying to head out, VWAP's heading out, stochastic's heading down, and our momentum's curling down. So the daily's looking very bearish. We're breaking that value area low, so not looking too strong. We have a red X. Kind of explain what that was, so not too good. Our stochastic's starting to fall, momentum's falling, and our RSI's falling, all pretty in line with each other, like at the same trajectory. Money flow's about to cross bearish. VWAP wanted to come up, but it's starting to taper out. Money flow, our momentum is trying to get a bit of a curl, so we could see a bit of a jump up from here if we can get some momentum to come in. Over on the 2 hour, momentum's trying to make higher highs as our price makes lower lows, as a slight bullish divergence, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to take us to the moon. It could just do nothing, kind of like back right here where we just fell away from it. RSI is heading down, stochastic's oversold as pretty oversold as oversold can be. You can't really even see the lines. Our money flow is heading down pretty decently, so not looking too strong. If this money flow starts to curl up and we get that bullish divergence, then we might get a decent move. Here you saw money flow is coming out, so that's a little bit of the difference there. Momentum's kind of rolling away with a red dot that could bring us lower. Stochastic has a bearish cross and RSI is heading down on the 1 hour. Money flow is in the bearish zone very well. We're about 14. So one of the strongest crosses we've seen into the bearish zone, and our VWAP's heading down. So if we don't get some momentum here, we could see one of the 2 support zones if we're not careful. At which point, I know I'd be dollar cost averaging. Again, let me know if you want a video on that. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.